Forget open ear, forget semi-in-ear. The new way to relieve pressure on your ear canals when you're listening to music is Earclips. Since Huawei launched the free clip and Bose the Ultra Open earlier this year, all of the names that we know and love in the budget space in particular have been racing to get their take on it out to the market. And whilst you could complain about the lack of innovation and originality from these budget brands, for me this is a good thing because it gives you an opportunity to try this form factor out before shelling out on something more expensive. Or maybe you're one of those consumers that doesn't have the budget to spend £250 on what is essentially a set of niche buds. If that sounds like you, well don't worry because I've got you covered. Today we're going to be taking a closer look at two of the more compelling budget options, the Crossky C30 from QCY and the Ergo AS01 from Baseus. As I alluded to in the intro, one of the benefits of this kind of design is the added comfort that you get from hooking over the anti-tragus and wrapping around underneath the ear, securing behind the earlobe as opposed to being stuck inside your ear canal, or in the case of open earbuds, wrapping around the top of your ear with an ear hook, which for some users could cause pinching. The kind of use cases for this type of earbud include for exercise, especially running, but also for gym work where something like the Shox Open Run with that neckband design can be prohibitive when you're doing bench or floor work. If you've ever worn open earbuds doing yoga or Pilates, you'll know that gravity can sometimes pull the earbud away from your ear canal, but that isn't a problem with an ear clip. It also works well in applications where you need to hear what's going on around you, such as shared office space, but also out on the bike where situational awareness assures your safety. Coming up in this comparison, we're going to look at the specifications, take a look at the fit and the comfort in all of those use cases. You're going to get to hear what they sound like with binaural samples and see the graphs with frequency response measurements, and also hear how they perform on calls in different busy scenarios. Starting with the specifications, the QCY support Bluetooth 5.4, whereas the AS01 are Bluetooth 5.3. Neither this nor the 0.8mm difference in the driver size is going to make a great deal of real world difference. Both of these support multi-point and gaming mode, which is nice to see, but only the QCY has an official IPX rating. That might make a difference to you if you're planning on using these in the gym or outdoors. One slight advantage for the Baseus is their quick charge feature of 2 hours playtime from 10 minutes charge, and the price as well, coming in at around £15 compared to £22 on the QCY. The Baseus advertise longer single-use battery life, but I found the opposite, that the QCY gave me around 5.5 hours, sometimes even more, whereas the Baseus would be somewhere between 4.5 and 5. You can pick up both of these on AliExpress. I've left some affiliate links in the description, so if you are considering buying these, then do please use the links if you find this comparison useful. Onto the design, and first let's take a look at the case. The Baseus is a little bit bigger and a little bit fatter and overall less portable. This is perhaps a little easier to see when you open both cases up. Both are plastic, but the Baseus one does feel a bit more premium, with its eggshell style finish holding up better over time. The QCY case is, well, a little bit disappointing by comparison. Whilst it looked pretty good when I first got it, within about 2 weeks it had scuffed up pretty bad in my pocket and looks like I've had it about 6 months. When it comes to the buds themselves though, this is where QCY flip it because they just feel and look far superior. Firstly, the shape. If you look at the Baseus, it's far more pointy, whereas the QCY is much more rounded. It fits to the curvature of your ear much more naturally and doesn't stick out as much. For comfort, I would say the QCY scores a 9.5 out of 10 and its stability is excellent as well, just that the controls are behind the ear, which is a little bit of a pain to initiate sometimes. The Baseus is stable enough, but for me at least, it wasn't comfortable enough that I would forget it's there like I did with the QCY. The controls are at the front, which makes them slightly easier to initiate, but this is the only advantage that the AS01 has got. My ears are pretty big, but they even look bulky on me. Secondly, whilst both models do have some malleability to some degree, because the band is a little bit thicker on the Baseus, it doesn't tend to stay in place once you've made an adjustment. The The QCY by contrast has a much thinner band, and this is easier to maneuver into place and stay in that position. The other big advantage from a comfort perspective on the QCY is the material that the actual bud and the bits that are making contact with your skin are made of. The hard plastic and rough edges of the Baseus do detract from that overall feeling of comfort. For outdoor activities like running and cycling, the QCY has another big advantage. The maximum volume on the Baseus AS01 came to around 96 dB, which is okay the majority of the time and certainly indoors, but when you're outdoors and you've got a quietly recorded track or podcast, you might find there's not enough headroom to get the optimal level of volume so you can hear everything. The QCY measure 101 dB, so with your quieter recorded sources, as I said, you can crank that volume up a little bit more and you're much more likely to hear it. Both of these products have app support, with the QCY giving you marginally more customization. You can customize controls on both models with single touch, double touch and triple touch available on the QCY. On the Baseus, it's double touch, triple touch and hold. Whilst you can change the controls on the QCY to whatever you want, including volume control isn't possible with the Baseus. The QCY gives you some added functionality like adjusting the sensitivity of the touch controls and setting sleep timers. Both models also have a Find My Earbuds mode, and with the Baseus you can call the left or the right bud individually. Next up it's the sound, and we'll start off with the binaural sample so you can judge what each of them sounds like in real life. As you heard there, I think again it is fair to say that there is a very clear winner when it comes to the sound. Similar principles to open earbuds and semi-in ears. There's no seal, so the bass is dissipating by the time it makes its way into your ear canal. The directional audio of the QCY though means that you're still getting some of that mid bass, whereas on the Baseus you're not getting any of it. To compound things, the upper mid range is a little bit screechy on the Baseus as well. This is better if you're listening to podcasts because it does make voices a bit clearer, but if you're listening to music, then the Baseus are just too tinny to be worthy of consideration. There is a bass boost mode on the Baseus and it does improve the sound slightly, balancing the upper registers a little bit more, but there is some very audible distortion. Looking back at the app, Baseus give you quite a bit of ability to customize the sound with 12 presets and a custom EQ, whereas the QCY you've only got 5. The custom EQ on both apps is pretty good and you can save multiple individual presets that you've discovered yourself. Next up, you're going to hear how each of these buds perform on calls in busy and noisy real life scenes.
So, first up, we're testing the QCY Crossky C30 in a busy coffee shop, typical busy indoor scene. If you need to make or take a call with these, then this is how it's going to sound. We've got a mixture of the sound of the barista making coffee, conversations in your drive, the weekends, right from people is. You've also got music playing from the stereo as well. So that can mention to you how it's going to sound if you're in a busy indoor scene, right, school corridor, page corridor, office, something like that. And this time if you turn over the Baseus Earclips, same test, same busy coffee shop, same similar sounds that we've got going on around us. Now talk for a little bit longer. I'm not going to repeat myself what we covered in the previous clip. So this is how the Baseus are going to sound in comparison. And this time we have got in the QCY Crossky C30 Earclips through the semi-indoor, semi-outdoor Borough Market session. So if you don't know, Borough Market is one of the busiest markets here in London. It attracts a lot of tourists. Big groups of people queuing up for whatever they're queuing up for. I don't know, probably chocolate covered strawberries, something like that. Um, One of these Instagram viral trends. So it's difficult in this kind of scene, typically for TWS, to be able to separate your voice from other voices and lots of conversations going on. Well, I'm interested to hear how the Crossky C30 performs. This is the remix. And it's time to get the same test in Borough Market for the Baseus AS01 earclips and how they're going to perform when, as I said, the remix is separating your voice from the other voices around it. Conversations die down a little bit, so I'm going to just have this out by walking a little bit closer to the bigger shoes so you can get a good feel for how it's going to perform in comparison. So we're testing how the QCY Crossky earclips, you can see them there in the sun, perform on your calls when it's quite by a big airport here in the UK. So you've got the sound of people coming in to land or taking off. You've got wind coming through quite a bit as well, as you would expect while you're cycling. And there's a train, as you may be able to see, going past there. So tough conditions, but this is how you can expect them to perform on a call in this kind of scene. And let's start with in the Baseus again. It's right near an airport, so you've got the sound of plane noise. You've got the sound of wind coming through. Plane was just about to land, and if you heard it there, definitely a competition for a set of earbuds when you're trying to make a take a call. We've got what sounds like a plane taxi nearby as well, and some noise from the road. So a commensurate test for the Baseus this time and how they're going to perform when you call when you're out on the bike and you've got lots of environmental noise around you.
So as you heard there, neither set was really capable of being able to elevate your own voice and reduce those environmental sounds effectively. The design of earclips means that the mics are a little bit further away from your mouth, and that presents a real challenge. The QCY's noise reduction was so aggressive that it was muffling your own voice, whereas the Baseus was letting everything through, and neither of those are ideal. If I had to say one was better than the other, it would probably be the Baseus, because your voice does come through naturally when there's nothing going on in the scene at all. But to be honest, both of these sets fall way short of something like the Huawei Earclip, which really does perform well on calls. Finally, there's one other area where the AS01 absolutely excel, and that's latency. Even with gaming mode switched on, the QCY could still see a slight delay, whereas with the AS01 with gaming mode on, it was practically indistinguishable. So to summarise, two very respectable releases if you're in the market for a budget earclip, but I think as you saw and heard, the QCY has some very clear advantages. The design and ergonomics of the C30 are quite exceptional for the price. They're super comfortable to the point you'll probably forget they're even there, and they sound pretty good for earclips as well. They're not perfect, missing some important features like quick charge, and they've definitely cheaped out on the case. That said, if you want to try out this form factor, the QCY would definitely be my pick. The Baseus, on the other hand, does have a nice case and super low latency, but they wear chunky and cumbersome, negating the big advantage of this form factor. The sound is also, as you heard, quite poor, so I can't really recommend these unless you're on a very strict budget. So what did you think of the C30 and the AS01? Do leave your comments in the comments section below. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, found it useful, both or neither, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. For now, it's ReganCipher signing off.